This afternoon we have a follow-up of J. Ames Nova 10 bolt. This is the one where the differential was shuttling side to side in the differential case. So since I examined it, I took it completely apart, cleaned everything up, clean like I always do. And I've examined all the parts, and the gears didn't look bad. So I just decided to set it back up on my setup bearings, that I have, and clearance it, backlash it correctly, and set the pinion depth correctly, and just see what we had left to deal with here. If it was junk, or if it could be reused. So the pinion depth is, for this gear, was clearly marked on it, 2 inches 565. So that's what the pinion depth is, and that's from the face of the pinion in there to the center line of the axle, and that's the number that it actually is. And the backlash on this ring gear says 7 to 10, and right now I got it at 10, but it's basic setup just to see what we've got, and it's promising. I examined the gears closely, and there's no displaced metal, like worn areas where there's a sharp edge raised up on the pinion or on the ring gear. There's no chunks missing. Well, obviously that's always a giveaway. Gears can be tricky. They look like gears. All gears look like gears unless there's chunks missing. So just figured I'd give them a fair shake and just clearance them again and just set it up and just see what we have to deal with. And it's not horrible. We'll talk about the gears here. These are either Richmond Motive gears. They're not stamped. There's the gear ratio is stamped on them, but the brand name isn't. And Motive gear and Richmond gear now are the same thing. And I'm familiar with their depth marking is etched into the faces of the pinion, and they always look the same. And that's what these guys are. I'll bet money on it. This is an Eaton differential and is marked 04, and there's a date code on here that says 12 of 00. I have a difficult time believing that this car has run around like this for 20 years and it didn't chew this thing to death, but I don't know. I guess it's possible, but it's highly unlikely. I think that this clutch pack posi it's recent. Probably something happened to the original one, or it was an open differential. Who knows? And I think that's where it came off the tracks. When I took it apart, took the pinion out, everything was loose. I mean, it wasn't floppy loose, but it didn't take much to loosen the pinion nut. Certainly not what you'd expect. So, like I said, I dialed it in to see what we see. The pattern looks good under coast and acceleration. I can bring this thing in and dial it in with new bearings, and it could live to fight another day. Obviously, this is why I'm doing this. I'm going to discuss this with Jay, but I just want him to see what he's got. And explaining this stuff, sometimes a picture is worth 1,000 words. So there we go.